right. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody, somebody, stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Good morning, Rainbow Push family, social justice warriors and activists for what is right. I thank God for you. Today we have an exciting presentation for you. You don't want to miss it. As a matter of fact, I recommend that you subscribe, that you share, but you also get on your phone old school and let everybody know that it is about to go down like 4 flat tires right here on the Word Network or the YouTube channel. But we want you to be a part of what will be an engaging and empowering time. We're going to share with you an interview with Bishop William Barber as we do a post-election analysis. We also are going to have, in a real sense, some more from what happened in the ATL. So you don't want to miss it. Let's get ready to make sure that we push for justice, push for empowerment, push for liberation. It's about to go down.
The first is still the best. The 24th Annual Rainbow Push Global Automotive Summit, affirming diversity in the EV sector, Tuesday and Wednesday, November 14th and 15th.
It's a great opportunity for those that want to get into the automotive industry to get access to the decision makers. And they have direct access to these automotive executives. And you can't really do that any other place than here at the Rainbow Push Automotive Summit with Reverend Jackson.
You can get a lot of insight and meeting people who have kind of paved the way for 20, 30 years ago. It's very enlightening also.
I think this conference is extremely important. One, because it brings awareness to MBEs who may not have known things about the automotive industry through their regular interaction. Two, is because it brings awareness to corporates who may not know about MBEs who are very capable and competent that could be in our supply chain.
Jesse Jackson is the bottom line as it relates to us getting to these OEMs. Most companies in this space, from dealerships to manufacturers, he has walked us in many a door. That's the importance of this conference, that it works.
Don't be left behind. Stay on top of new innovations, making connections, and celebrate Rainbow Push, its dynamic legacy and pivot. Register now at automotiveproject.org. November 14th and 15th, join us at a new location, Wayne County Community College Northwest Campus, 8200 West Outer Drive. Register at automotiveproject.org.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
But when we think of the civil rights movement, when we think of why we are here today and why it's so important for us to support civil rights leaders, it's because of the incredible sacrifices that a group of extraordinary men and women made early on, when it wasn't popular to be a civil rights leader. And I have the great pleasure and the honor of introducing a woman who needs no introduction. She's extraordinary. She was one of the first African-American broadcasters that we ever had in this country. She was a civil rights leader back in the day when people didn't even know that women participated in the leadership role. She, as you all know, worked side by Dr. Luther King every day, day in and day out, breaking down barriers. She was at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. She's at the National Urban League. She's a legend here in the Atlanta metropolitan area. She's an icon for this country. And I'm talking about the legendary. Let's give her a round.
All right.
We have to applaud and recognize the extraordinary efforts of those. I stand on your shoulders.
Trumpet
And
Awards.
thank you for all that you do. We know the Trumpet Awards were originated by this magnificent woman, and we thank you for all that you've done to continue to do.
You got a ride.
Thank you very, very much. I snuck out of bed to get here tonight because I caught some kind of cold somewhere and I didn't want to pass it on to anybody. So I was going to miss tonight though. Someone asked me as I was coming in how long I had known Reverend Jackson. And I said, from day one. When he came to work full-time for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference,
I got to do it.
Dr. King asked me to pick him up at the airport and bring him to introduce him to everybody. That was his first day. I've been knowing him from that day to this, and loving him as well. And every step of the way, I've been trying to follow in his footsteps. And then when we were all saddened as his health began to decline, looking for the right person to assist him for the next phase of the journey, there was something about my spirit and my love for Dr. Haynes, and I said, boy, wouldn't it be wonderful if the nation and the world could get him? But he's so busy, he don't have time to even listen to a request. That was what I said. The man is busy and has been for a long time. But you know, God is good and special to all of us. And so as it turns out, we didn't have to find Dr. Haynes. The good Lord just delivered him to us to continue the work that Dr. Jackson has started. So right now, let's give an applause to our next leader who will carry on the banner here. We love him and have loved him for a long, long time. And I want us tonight, as we have gathered here today, to not only honor his birthday, but Jesse Jackson is worse than I am. I'm the one who has birthdays all the time. And I said, how many birthdays does Jesse Jackson have? I went to Los Angeles for a birthday party, left there, and went to Dallas, Texas. Then I went to Florida. I said, how many birthdays does one person have? I was the one who had all these birthdays because they're so wonderful. But I don't care where they are, what we do, we always want to celebrate. So, Dr. Haynes, just know that we really feel like we are continuing in the footsteps of a man who set the bar so high. His leadership will never be excelled. It will be compared and duplicated, never excelled. And we love you then, We love you now and will always follow you and do just what you want us to do to make this work continue. So thank you very, very much for allowing me to say welcome to our family that you've been a part all the time. Okay, thank you very much.
Can I
Your
get a picture of the three of
introduction
you?
was wonderful. Will you do it again? It sounded so good. Thank you.
And whatever else we have in C.K. Hoffler, we have a social engineer who is opening the door to new eras of possibility. And so would you join me in saluting Attorney C.K. Hoffler, the architect, the visionary of this night, and indeed a gift to each and every one of us. Thank you, C.K. Hoffler. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I also want to shout out Trina. Trina has worked so hard to pull off these 2 days for this conference, and so we salute her. We thank God for her leadership and for the work that she has done here in our Atlanta office. So thank you so much, Trina. I must, yes, please give it up for Trina. I must also say how excited I got when I walked in and beheld the Queen herself. My girlfriend, her only boyfriend, though a lot of folks try to claim that they are the boyfriends of the amazing Sonoma Clayton, but just be it resolved, I'm the one. And so Sonoma Clayton, for you to take time out to be with us this night, especially when I'm sure your doctor would rather you be resting and reviving, it means so much to see you. This night is already a success just because of your presence. Thank you so much for being our queen, Sonoma Clayton. I want to say a few words about our icon, legend, hero for many of us, the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. We're going to let Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. has often injected a spirit of somebodyness into those who structurally suffered from what Frantz Fanon calls systemic negation. And Reverend Jackson would not only say, I am somebody, but you heard in the video him testifying about I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And from being born in the slum, on the backside of Greenville, South Carolina, Jesse Lewis Jackson has become a world leader. No slum could hold him because even though he was born in the slum was not born in him. And so the best way to exegete that statement is with the brilliance of Tupac Shakur. I got to quote Tupac because of the fact that Jesse Jackson, before hip-hop, was already rapping. And so he could rap off of anything. We don't want charity, we want parody.
All right.
Just rapping like that. I mean, Jesse could just rap. And so given that, I think it's appropriate to quote Tupac Shakur, who's written a poem, and the poem is entitled, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Don't miss the connection. Reverend Jesse Jackson would often say, you may have been born in the slum, but the slum was not born in you. Tupac Shakur, using his poetic imagination, comes across in the streets of the hood, the sidewalks of the hood, the broken sidewalks of the hood, a rose that is blossoming even though it is not in a garden, meaning the structure of the concrete could not preclude the rose from doing what it was divinely designed and cosmically created to do. A rose somehow broke through the concrete, blossomed anyhow, and brought beauty to that which was surrounded by ugliness. Jesse Jackson puts it this this way, and that is, I may have been born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And so given that, the question becomes, how can we be inspired to rise above our past, rise above concrete structures that would produce outcomes that are oftentimes negative? How do we do it? Well, we learn from the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I learned these lessons. I give them to you. And go to my seat. Jesse Jackson taught us the importance of faith, but hold on, he recognized the scripture that says faith without works is dead. It's one thing to believe, it's another thing to behave like you believe. And Jesse Lewis Jackson not only had faith, watch this, he had faith that Lieutenant Robert Goodman could be freed, but then he worked and got on a plane and went to Syria to bring him home. He had faith that we could transform the Democratic Party and bring democracy to the Democratic Party, but then he worked to make it so. As a consequence, he transformed the party in 1988. He had faith, but his faith was one that worked. He was not ever going to be like those ducks in the kingdom that was lifted up by one Soren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard told the story about the mythical duck kingdom. In the duck kingdom was a duck church, and during duck church, the duck choir quacked the songs of Zion. Pastor Duck gets up to preach. He has a 3-point sermon. You are ducks. You have wings and you can fly. Extends the invitation. Several ducks unite with Duck Church. And then after the invitation, now the benediction is pronounced, and they all shake wings with Pastor Duck and say, Pastor Duck, you preached today. You said we are ducks, we have wings, we can fly, and they all walked home. Jesse Jackson made up his mind that he would never ever walk. He would always soar, and because he soared, we've been able to soar. And so first of all, Jesse Jackson teaches us that faith without works is dead. If faith without works is dead, then faith with works brings new life. And for that, we salute Jesse Lewis Jackson. But hold on, I'm not going to shout you yet, because I got to give you something else. Jesse Jackson also would often say to we who are preachers, he would tell us this: it's one thing to preach about sin within, it's another thing to preach about the sin we live in. Y'all didn't get it. I'll back it up, slow it down, and give you a moment to shout, because we know about sin within, but do we recognize that there is sin we live in? Economic injustice is sin we live in. Educational inequity is sin we live in. Education that is not culturally responsive to our children is sin that we live in. What Jacob Carruthers called historicide. You've heard of homicide and suicide. Historicide is what they are doing in Florida, as the governor of that state, the Nazi, talks about the fact that Africana studies has no redeeming value. That's historicide. And sin that we live in, when in Florida they do everything in their power to erase our contributions and then lie and say that we developed skills when we came over here. That is historicide. Parenthetically, we came here with skills. As a matter of fact, that's why they went to certain sections of Africa, because they knew how to culture the ones who, before Columbus got lost and Copernicus had a telescope, looked up and beheld the constellation of the stars that bedeck the heavens as gleam of eternity, and discerned the earth was not flat but round. I'm letting you know it's a sin to live in educational disparity, economic injustice. It's a sin to live in political repression. It's one thing to preach about sin within. It's another thing to deal with the sin we live in. Jesse Lewis Jackson, thank you, my beloved brother, for teaching us that faith without works is dead. Thank you for letting us know that when you have this faith that works, you not only confront sin within, but the sin we live in. But then finally, and I'm done, showed us what real leadership is all about. Leadership embodied in Jesse Jackson. I'm done. I'll give you these and I'm through. They're really good for me. Jesse Jackson taught us that leadership serves people. Leadership solves problems. Leadership sees possibilities, and leadership strategizes for power. Preach, Freddie Hayes. I'm trying not to, but that's some good stuff right there. Because when you check out the life and light of Jesse Lewis Jackson, whatever else you want to say about him, he served people. He never was too big to take out time for people. As a matter of fact, Jesse Jackson will call you 5 times a day. I'm a witness. And when he's calling you 5 times a day, it's because he's seen a problem infecting people and wants to solve that problem, because leadership serves people. No wonder Cornel West said you can't save people until you serve people, and you cannot lead people if you do not love people. Thank you, Jesse Jackson, for serving people, but he didn't just serve people. Jesse Jackson solves problems. Is that not what leadership is about? Leadership recognizes that we are to be what Dr. King called thermostats and not thermometers. Thermometers, they register the temperature, but a thermostat, if you go into a cold room and turn the heat on, all of a sudden what was problematic is now solved by a thermostat. What's the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer? I talked to a thermostat. It said what differentiates me from a thermometer is a thermometer ain't connected to anything that gives it power to transform the environment. Jesse Jackson, thank you for serving people, solving problems because of your connection. But not only did Jesse Jackson solve problems, Jesse Jackson continues to this day. Here it is. I shout you to see possibilities, because Jesse Jackson, when he declares people alive, he's believing in what's possible in spite of what's problematic. The problems will come, but real leadership sees beyond what is to what should be and what could be. And that's what makes Jesse Jackson our icon, our hero. Here it is one more time and I'm through. Real leadership strategizes for power. What did Dr. King say? Dr. King say power means making people say yes when they planned on saying no. Power is the ability because in 84 and 88 you brought our fingers together and formed the power coalition, and we've been benefiting from that ever since. And so y'all, this is Jesse Jackson's birthday celebration. Happy birthday to you, Jesse, because you blessed us. Happy birthday to you, Jesse. You continue to inspire us. Happy birthday, Jesse, because you the man, and because you the man, we gonna keep hope alive. God bless you. Happy birthday, Jesse Jackson.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Global humanitarian.
Evolutionary, revolutionary.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution. Push Excel.
Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Not for disciplines.
Equality and perseverance.
Corporate partnership.
People united.
Push yes.
I'm Otis Moss III.
I'm Frederick Douglass Haynes III.
And we are here simply just to say to you about an incredible organization known as Operation Push.
Can I be admitted? No, sir, you cannot be admitted. Why? I am not going to serve you. Because of my race?
Operation Push has been here for us even when we didn't know it. As a matter of fact, a lot of the doors that you walk through is because of the fact that somebody knocked those doors down.
I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
And because of Operation Push, when it started as Operation Breadbasket, after the assassination of Dr. King, they decided to build an organization that were people united to save humanity.
Just what is Operation Push?
Well, Operation Push is a civil economics organization. It's a religious organization with an economic mission. And we believe that the black church is the political and spiritual salvation of our people. And it is to that extent that we challenge churches and churchmen to get involved.
And so we are simply asking those who have been blessed by Push to join the movement.
That's right. And if you do that, I promise you, you are blessing the next generation. And that's what we need, generationally, to bless those who come behind us, just as those before us made sure that we could have what we have. That's Operation Push, pushing doors open. But we can't push if we don't have your hand involved.
We want to turn on the gas. We want to turn on the water. We want to sell the clothes. We want to sell the cars. We want to be men. We want self-determination.
And it was Jesse Jackson who was the young man of the movement and now is an elder statesman. And we've got to make sure that we have another generation that will be pushing forward, another generation that will be building an Operation Breadbasket, another generation that will be talking about new economic strategies for those who are poor.
And ensuring that we are never politically disenfranchised. I hope you already recognize that there is a movement afoot to rob us of what we fought so hard for and shed blood for, and that is the right to express our voice through voting.
If blacks vote in great numbers, progressive whites win. It's the only way progressive whites win. If blacks vote in great numbers, Hispanics win. When blacks, Hispanics, and progressive whites vote, women win. When women win, children win. When women and children win, workers win. We must all come up together. We must come up together.
We need you in Rainbow Push to make sure we are politically empowered and enfranchised.
There is no other organization like Rainbow Push, and we encourage you to make sure that you join and financially support. If we don't support it, no other organization will. It is our duty, it is our job to support our organizations.
We got to do it. Grassroots organization, hitting the streets and challenging those in the suites. That's Operation Push.
I like that. I'm Reverend Otis Moss III.
Hey, I'm Frederick D. Haynes III. He's rubbing off on me.
Make sure you join Operation Push, Rainbow Push, today.
Keep hope alive.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
The first is still the best. The 24th Annual Rainbow Push Global Automotive Summit, affirming diversity in the EV sector, Tuesday and Wednesday, November 14th and 15th.
It's a great opportunity for those that want to get into the automotive industry to get access to the decision makers. And they have direct access to these automotive executives. And you can't really do that any other place than here at the Rainbow Push Automotive Summit with Reverend Jackson.
You can get a lot of insight and meeting people who have kind of paved the way for 20, 30 years ago. It's very enlightening also.
I think this conference is extremely important. One, because it brings awareness to MBEs who may not have known things about the automotive industry, through their regular interaction. Two, is because it brings awareness to corporates who may not know about MBEs who are very capable and competent that could be in our supply chain.
Jesse Jackson is the bottom line as it relates to us getting to these OEMs. Most companies in this space, from dealerships to manufacturers, he has walked us in many a door. That's the importance of this conference, is it works.
Don't be left behind. Stay on top of new innovations, making connections, and celebrate Rainbow Push, its dynamic legacy and pivot. Register now at automotiveproject.org. November 14th and 15th, join us at a new location, Wayne County Community College Northwest Campus, 8200 West Outer Drive. Register at automotiveproject.org.
Welcome, Rainbow Push family, to another Saturday morning forum, Dr. King's workshop. And today I am too excited because we have one who has literally picked up the baton of Martin Luther King Jr., Bishop William Barber. Of course, we know him as the leader of Poor People's Campaign, Repairers of the Breach, also now a professor at Yale University. Oh my God. I mean, this brother is both professor and prophet. with a shepherd's heart. And so I thank God for Bishop William Barber. Bishop William Barber, of course, his analysis is reminiscent of our beloved founder, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. And so Bishop Barber, this past Tuesday, an election took place across this country, and you were on the ground. Repairers of the Breach, Poor People's Campaign, on the ground in Kentucky. And something happened in Kentucky that was quite significant, quite profound, that I don't want us to miss. Please share with us your post-election analysis. What lessons can we learn? What happened? And then what do we need to do moving forward?
Well, first of all, Dr. Haynes, let me thank you, and thank you for your leadership and leading Rainbow Push now, and our dear, lovely leader and powerful leader, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, and your moment in. But I think I'm picking up the baton. That baton is too heavy for any one person, so we both picking it up together. How about that? Listen, first of all, we got to do some back analysis. What you're going to hear with the major media, this was all about the abortion issue. Now, it was, and we have to be clear on that issue of people taking over women's rights, particularly for how it hurts poor folk, poor women. But let's not forget that in 2016 in North Carolina, we showed how southern states could rise anew, that they didn't have to go the way of extremism. So in 2016, by focusing on things like healthcare and living wages and building a movement from the bottom up, and looking at the number of low-income voters that had not voted and going after them, with an agenda, we were able to defeat an extremist in North Carolina. 2018, Bashir won. Let's not forget that. Now, the Poor People's Campaign, National Call for Moral Revival, Repairs of the Breach, we did a lot of work in 2018 in Kentucky, particularly in eastern Kentucky. They said it was Trump counties. We said, no, that's actually where Lyndon Baines Johnson started the war on poverty in Harlan County, Kentucky. Justice Harlan was the justice in 1896 that voted against the Plessy versus Ferguson case. So that's the land of Anne Breeden. So we went there, brought the Hatfields and the McCoys together, showed them how they were being bamboozled, showed them how the very people that were lying to them and saying they would be against gay people, they would be against, they were against voter fraud, which there was no voter fraud, were actually voting against their labor rights, their water rights, their education, their health care. Those folk got together and they turned about 4 or 5 of those states, quote unquote, blue for Bashir that had been red in 2018. So the writing, Dr. Haynes, was already on the wall, right? The other thing is Bashir decided that he was not going to run as a Democrat or as a Republican, but as a person who cared about, and he said in one of his speeches, some things are not about left versus right, but about right versus wrong. And he said openly, if I get elected, I'm going to deal with felony reenfranchisement. I'm going to deal with Medicaid expansion. I'm going to bring that, and I'm going to raise the minimum wage, close to a living wage. That resonated with poor and low wealth voters because the number of poor and low wealth voters in Kentucky that didn't vote outdistanced the margin of victory of Trump and the former governor. Right. But Bashir learned that language through this movement. We never endorsed him. He picked up that language and he began to go in Eastern Kentucky. He brought folk together from Louisville and Eastern Kentucky. And if you look at that map from last night, or not from last night, from Tuesday, look at the counties in Eastern Kentucky that he won. Look at the counties in Eastern Kentucky that he didn't win, but he closed the margin. Look at the massive turnout in Lexington and Louisville. By the way, one of our former Poor People's Campaign advocates is now city councilwoman in Lexington. She was all over the ground. I went out there with them. One day they had massive voter registration all across the state. What this shows us is what can happen in the South if you have candidates that will run on the issues that people are concerned about. 70 to 80% of Americans want living wages. They want Medicaid. Say that. They want us to address poverty. But if the candidates don't talk about that, all they talk about is law and order, then they're trying to be extremist light. Extremist light is not how you win in the South. Right. You got to speak to the sleeping giant. 1/3 of all poor people are in the South. 1/3 of all white poor people are in the South. There's not a southern state in the South where if you register and move 20% of low-income voters to the polls that you could not control the at-large elections. Not one state. Most states is under 20%, like in a Kentucky, like in North Carolina, like in Georgia. I think it's 7% in Georgia. It's only 3% in Florida, Doc. And so it's the issues of life that you have to have candidates to run on. And then the people, when they're mobilizing for, you can't just say vote, vote because people died from the past. No, vote and you get health care.
Come on now.
Vote and you get living wages.
Right.
Vote and you get felony reenfranchisement and your records expunged. And then people hear you. That's what happened in Kentucky. That's why we spend a lot of time out there.
Bishop Barber, what a gift you are. And I love the fact that you said you didn't endorse Bashir, but he ended up endorsing us.
Exactly.
That's the lesson that we have to learn as organizers, as faith activists. It's not so much important that we endorse this candidate and that candidate. It's important that our agenda, our vision is so well articulated, because our agenda is a people's agenda. Our agenda is an agenda that meets the needs of what Jesus called the least of these, those with their backs against the wall, to use the language of Howard Thurman. And here you are, Bishop Barber, picking up that baton, carrying it so well that politicians endorse what we are envisioning. Bishop, just share with us, and I know you have to go, but share with us in light of what has taken place. And again, you ain't new to this, you true to this, 16, and we can go back in terms of what you've been doing with the Poor People's Campaign, Repairers of the Breach. Talk to us now. We're looking toward 2024. What should we be doing now so that we can have the impact, so that we can have them endorse us in 2024, as opposed to us endorsing them?
Well, Dr. Haynes, 60% of Black people are poor and or low wealth.
Yeah.
That means they're $500 away from economic ruin. They make less than $15 an hour. In fact, almost half the country, 43% of the country makes less than $15 an hour. 87 million people are without health care. 87 million people without health care. So anybody that's serious about winning has to talk to those folks, right? Because poor and low wealth folk now make up 30% of the electorate in non-battleground states and 43% of the electorate in battleground states. So if anybody is not just a suburban vote and chasing that vote, poor and low wealth voters who have not voted are the sleeping giant that hold the key.
Say that.
The number one reason, we did a study with Columbia University and they asked this question, why don't they vote? The number one reason that low-income voters don't vote is nobody talks to them. I'm talking about Black or white.
Right.
We have to get away from this thing that white folk are voting against their own self-interest. In fact, the data shows us that when poor and low wealth voters do vote, they tend to vote progressive. So here's what I would say for 2030 and what we're doing in the Poor People's Campaign, National Call for Moral Revival. On March the 2nd, and you and I have talked about this, we're going to call for 30 simultaneous gatherings at state capitals saying it's time to take the mic back and take the vote back. And we're calling for people of all races, creed, and color to go to state capitals and declare what we are concerned about is where do you stand on living wages? Where do you stand on health care? Where do you stand on equal rights? Where do you stand on voting rights? And we're going to call for simultaneously a massive vote. That's 35 weeks before the election. June 15th, we're calling in DC for a massive gathering to, again, say, here are the issues prior to the conventions. If you want these votes, there's 60 million poor and low wealth voters. 27 million voted in 2020, 30-some million didn't. But if you move 20% of those, it changes everything. So here the issue. And then from June forward, we're going to reach 10 to 15 million poor and low income voters who have not voted in the last election, but when they did vote, they tended to vote progressive. But we're going to reach them by pushing issues. If we do this, the stones that the builders have rejected,
come on now,
can rebuild this democracy.
Right.
I want to say it again in closing. The numbers are not even that big, Dr. Haynes. If we would just look at it, in North Carolina, 19% of those that didn't vote. In Florida, 3%. In South Carolina, 12%. In Georgia, 7%. Even in Mississippi, when we look at those numbers, we're going to find out if in the last few days, the governor running for governor president, he started focusing on Medicaid expansion and living wage. 80% of Mississippians wanted Medicaid expansion of living wage.
That's right.
70% of Republicans. What if he had started from the beginning?
Yeah.
And what if the people on the ground had mobilized around that? My point is, there comes a time when God makes it so that the very people you have pushed down get power to push up.
Yeah.
And we can't have a bougie movement. We've
No.
got to bring poor and low wealth folk together, whether they're in Appalachia or Alabama, whether they're in Mississippi or Maine, whether they're in Washington State or Washington, D.C. That's the key block. And that's where I'm going to be putting all of my work along with you, because we wake up that sleeping giant. The data says it changes everything.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Bishop, you're a gift to us. We thank God for you. You're a prophetic witness. You are reminding me, and Rainbow Push family, hear this well. I remix now the words of our founder, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., who had that speech where he talked about stones just lying around.
That's right.
David, in a real sense, knocked out Goliath, overcame what was overwhelming because he picked up the stones. Bishop Barber is picking up stones. Guess what? You have stones as well. We need to pick up these stones, and oftentimes it's the stones. I'm remixing scripture, Bishop.
I hear you.
The builders rejected that God can use to help us rebuild a democracy that is under attack, even as we speak. And so, Bishop William Barber, thank you so much for your leadership. Rainbow Push family, justice warriors, lovers of freedom. Listen, we have a job to do. We saw what could happen this past week right there in Kentucky. I'm glad we have Bishop Barber on the ground, Tamika Mallory on the ground.
That's right.
I'm glad we have so many activists on the ground. Y'all, it's time to come together, fight for freedom, fight for democracy, because we have so much more in common than the stuff they're using to keep us apart. Bishop William
Dr.
Barber.
Haynes, can I give you one piece?
Please do it.
Election is about life. And what I mean by that is,
it's about life.
Poverty is the fourth leading cause of death today. Think about that.
Thanks.
So when you talk to people and say, if you vote, this is about your life. 350,000 people died during COVID because of the lack of health care. So if candidates will say, if you elect me, I'm going to pass health care, I'm going to pass a living wage. People can hear that. Because it's about life. And everybody wants to live, Doc.
Everybody wants to live.
And everybody's got a right to live.
Right, right. So again, please hear this, family. When we want to convince people about voting, you ain't got to tell them who died. Tell them if you want to live, you got to vote, because life, I love it, is on the ballot always. God bless you. Thank you, Bishop Barber.
Thank you, sir.
People often ask, why should I vote? And to be honest, voting is a sacred right. And if it wasn't so important, then there would not have been a distinctive effort to minimize one's vote. So while the 2024 election may seem far away, it really is right around the corner. So I want to encourage you to start thinking to yourself, do I have my voter plan together? Do I know where my polling location is? Do I know who's going to be on the ballot this election? And don't just ask this question of yourselves, but I want to encourage you to talk to your family and friends about this as well. Because here's the thing, voting is the one way in which you can actively participate in bringing about the change that you want to see. But to be completely honest with you, voting alone is not enough. It is so important that those of us who can and are willing to do so, that we put forth the effort to assist those in our community who might have challenges at the polls. So if you are interested in assisting others, then I would like to encourage you to participate in election protection. There are so many components to the election protection program. We have a hotline of volunteers who answer questions for those who call in, but we also have an election protection program where we have poll monitors and we have poll watchers. And this is where you can actively participate in your community and be at the polls to assist voters and to monitor what's going on at all times. If this is something that you are interested in, please reach out to us at Common Cause Illinois, where we would love to talk to you more about the program that we have. As I mentioned, it seems like the primaries are far away, but they are just around the corner. So make sure that you're prepared and that you have everything together for you to be able to vote. And the very first step that you need to take to do that is make sure that you're registered. But please be an active participant in this upcoming election, and don't just stop at voting. Try to find some of the various ways that you can get involved, whether it's election protection or other programs that might be out there. And if you yourself are a voter who runs into issues at the polls, then please be sure that around election time and during early voting that you reach out to the hotline 866-OUR-VOTE, and someone will be there to assist you.
We're excited to get more people engaged and involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. Now, if you're interested in public policy and you want to help change the policies that impact those who are incarcerated, you can do so. If you're interested in impacting public policies that benefit education and businesses with social economic solutions, you can do that as well. You can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. Now, if you believe in the scholarships that we've given to thousands of students each year, you can help us out. We've awarded more than $10 million in scholarships year to date. Now, you can help young people achieve a higher education by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now for the annual fee of only $35. And if you're a student or a senior, it's only $15. You can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. Now, if you watch us every week, or if you listen to us on the radio, or if you're viewing on social media, we need you to become a member. And how do you become a member? It's simple. Visit us at rainbowpush.org and press join. Maybe you'd like to support the work of Push. If so, it's really simple. You can do so by texting the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount that you feel comfortable giving, or you can call us at 773-256-2775 or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. So whenever you want to support, you can do it from anywhere. So keep pushing, because we're going to keep pushing for you and keep hope alive.
Thank you so much. What a powerful experience we've had today. Look forward to seeing you next week, because you know we're going to bring it. We're building something special as we indeed fight for justice, fight for democracy, fight for peace. We're believing God for peace in the Congo, peace in Haiti, peace in the Middle East. Join us as we do this vital work. Go ahead. You can do it right now. You can text PUSH to 41444. You see the number right there on your screen. Join us. We need your membership. Join us as we build this community of freedom fighters. We need you. Join us. Text PUSH to 41444. Also check us out, rainbowpush.org. And don't forget to meet us in the Motor City. We'll be in Detroit this coming Tuesday and Wednesday for the Automotive Summit, because Rainbow Push is about that justice life. God bless you, and let's keep on hoping.
The first is still the best. The 24th Annual Rainbow Push Global Automotive Summit, affirming diversity in the EV sector, Tuesday and Wednesday, November 14th and 15th.
It's a great opportunity for those that want to get into the automotive industry to get access to the decision makers. And they have direct access to these automotive executives. And you can't really do that any other place than here at the Rainbow Push Automotive Summit with Reverend Jackson.
You can get a lot of insight and meeting people who have kind of paved the way for 20, 30 years ago. It's very enlightening also.
I think this conference is extremely important. One, because it brings awareness to MBEs who may not have known things about the automotive industry, through their regular interaction. Two, is because it brings awareness to corporates who may not know about MBEs who are very capable and competent that could be in our supply chain.
Jesse Jackson is the bottom line as it relates to us getting to these OEMs. Most companies in this space, from dealerships to manufacturers, he has walked us in many a door. That's the importance of this conference, is it works.
Don't be left behind. Stay on top of new innovations, making connections, and celebrate Rainbow Push, its dynamic legacy and pivot. Register now at automotiveproject.org. November 14th and 15th, join us at a new location, Wayne County Community College Northwest Campus, 8200 West Outer Drive. Register at automotiveproject.org.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children.
Don't get in, shut it down. If we don't get in, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution.
Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive. Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural gaps.
We're going forward. By hope. Not backwards. By fear.